guys, welcome back to Superhero Roundup here on SourceFedNERD, the show where we talk about almost every single superhero show on TV right now.
There have to be ones we don't know about,
There's,
so you
too
have
many.
to say almost.
DC's got like 20. We can't keep up with them. But today we're going to talk about Constantine.
Yes.
Yay!
Agent Carter.
Yay!
Yes.
Flash.
Yes.
And Arrow.
Yes.
They
Need to
were
watch
all
both of
pretty
those.
good.
We are going to cease our discussion of Gotham because our opinion of it pretty much stays the same. So when a big episode hits,
Okay.
we might cover
We'll bring
it
it
again.
back, don't worry.
Updates.
But we can start with Constantine. What did you think of this?
Okay,
week's
so Constantine, this latest episode, we finally got information on Chaz.
Yes.
Dun dun dun! Why
Took
the
too
heck he
long.
can die a million times, and what his backstory is, and how he's friends with John Constantine, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
All of this came much too late in the season, but we're glad that it came.
Yes.
For me, well, just a little recap in case you didn't watch it and just kind of want to follow along with the plot line. Chaz's daughter, who, hey, he's got a daughter. We didn't know.
Got
And
We heard
an
about it
ex-wife.
we learned about it in one line of dialogue 2 episodes ago.
Okay,
Oh,
and an either separated
attention.
wife or divorced from wife, not sure. His daughter's soul gets possessed by, we find out, Faust.
Yeah.
And Faust kind of sends them on this wild goose chase where he's like, well, you bring me this demon and I'll give you your daughter's soul back. But they kill the demon and then he's all like, that wasn't the deal. So then they have to do things Chaz's way because he knocks out Constantine. And he ends up using one of his souls, which we find out why he's had this protection spell put on him by John in a drunken stupor. A spell that is like the stuff of fables, because not all of this is. P.S. This is the extra crazy one.
Yeah.
But it actually worked. And so he's amassed the souls of all these people that died.
47 people.
47 lives.
people. So we don't know up until this point how many he's gone through.
And he got them in what appeared to be the dumbest fire in a bar.
The
ever.
fastest fire
The fastest
as well.
fire.
I wondered if John's spell caused
That's
the
what I think happened.
fire.
That's what I thought happened
Yeah.
at first.
Because
You don't think so?
really kind of dumb. I don't know if the show could support something because that's kind of screwed up that
Yeah.
John inadvertently killed 47 people.
I think
No, I don't
I
think
don't-
his spell caused it. I think it appeared that way because
It was kind of
hilarity, but I don't
ridiculous,
think
yeah.
that. Yeah, I don't think that it
I
was
don't know.
meant to say that.
Yeah.
all right. I understand that, but I
Yeah.
think I don't know.
You
I
think
think
it was?
just drunk John didn't think it through, and he was like, "Oh, I'll just protect you, whatever." It's like,
No.
what could happen? Like, could it
Yeah.
actually work? Because this isn't supposed to work,
Yeah.
and it did. So like, because there's no way that like that fire just started and then it spread
It was
so
real dumb.
fast,
And who
and they all
does
got caught
that
in
big
the
a
door.
production at a bar band? Like, why were you
Yeah.
having pyrotechnics at your bar?
You know,
Wait,
like,
was there pyrotechnics? I just
Yeah.
thought fire
There's-
came
there's
out from
no
nowhere.
fire.
Yeah,
It
like a
was
fire show in like a
surprise.
6-foot-tall room. Like,
Yeah.
why would you
Yeah.
do that?
Yeah.
Like, so
That's
I think
smart.
the spell did it. But anyways.
But so anyway, Chaz has all these souls now, but he uses one of his souls to blow himself and Faust up to get his
was
daughter's soul back, which
badass.
kind of recovers and rekindles his relationship a little with his ex and his daughter. So yay! In my opinion, I loved the fact that we got some backstory on Chaz finally. Now we know what the hell's going on with him. The only thing that I really disliked about this episode was that I felt that Chaz was written super one note through the whole struggle for his daughter's soul. He was like, but I'm mad because you don't do things fast enough for me. Okay, great. And then like 5 seconds later, he'd be like, I'm just so mad that you don't do things fast enough.
Yeah.
Like it was that same reason.
Yeah.
That was his driving impetus the entire episode. And I'm like, you can be mad about something else. I mean, John's kind of a shitty guy. You
Yeah.
can
Oh,
be
yeah.
mad about a
There's
lot of
plenty-
things.
There's plenty of things to be mad
So
about.
writers, find something else for him to be mad at John about, please.
I very much like this episode because like there was a point that you've made many times when we talked about Constantine is that Chaz and Zed, kind of whatever. They're just they're side
They're
characters.
kinda
They fill the
interchangeable.
Yeah,
same
they're
role.
interchangeable.
Right.
But this episode, Chaz, you know, you got a little bit of backstory. He got to be kind of like the hero, the badass in the story, and even Zed was interesting. Like when
Yeah.
she had
Yeah.
to fight the invisible demon, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But, yeah. I like overall. I love this episode. It's
I
great.
really like this episode. I wish it had been episode 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like right off the bat, so you know who Chaz is. I also really liked Mark Margulies as Felix Faust from the comics. He was a lot of fun.
It was cool to see Faust.
And knowing that character, I hope he shows up again because
Yeah, he can't die that
because
easily.
it was cool. It's cool. It's cool. It's also cool that even though he's a big bad in this, he's really kind of like low rent. Like all I could talk about was like, oh, I can't believe it's Faust pulling this shit on us.
Yeah.
So I thought that was fun. So I think overall we liked the episode.
Oh yeah, great
Yeah,
episode, great
totally.
show. Did hear one little rumor, which we'll talk about for just a second, that there's a chance that Constantine could move to another network. That
Oh.
was rumored on a couple sites that I saw.
And then he could smoke finally.
Then he could actually smoke.
Could that network be CW?
It could be CW. That
to
was something.
team up with Arrow and Flash.
Yeah.
Or better for the show, probably FX.
FX or like TNT or something like.
I would
TNT's
follow
working on the
it
Titan
if it went
show.
somewhere else.
Yeah, I'd follow it too. The show's great.
I think going to a network specifically like FX would probably be the best thing that could happen to that show.
But again, rumors doesn't mean it's going to do anything. Could just come back, could die. No one knows.
It's a
But,
mystery.
It's a mystery. But we can talk about Agent Carter now.
Yeah, we
don't
can
watch
talk about Agent Carter, yes.
Agent Carter?
Agent Carter is incredible. I finally caught up on everything.
this
so I can
episode
join
we
into
talk
this
about
talk. I'm
Agent
very
Carter.
stoked.
What do you think of Agent Carter so far?
I think it's
Trisha?
amazing.
Yeah.
I think it's everything I ever wanted in a female Dick Tracy.
That's a good example. That's a
Oh.
good comparison to make for
It's
that
really
show,
fun.
especially with that first episode with the hat and the jacket.
Yeah, it's
and the
real
bright
fun.
primary colors. Is
Or
real cool.
Carmen Sandiego?
Yeah,
look.
yeah,
A little
yeah.
Carmen San Diego vibe, very film noir.
Yeah.
This week, I felt like the plot was kind of a little all over the place, which I understand
Yes.
sometimes you need that episode to further the story, but
Yeah.
it wasn't really that monster of the week formula, so it felt a little.
Yeah, but we did get Howard Stark.
Yeah.
Which was cool.
I thought he was going to be like this guy who'd show up at the beginning and the end of the series.
Yeah.
I thought he would just be in that first episode and then kind of show up at the end like, oh, guys, thanks for getting all my inventions back.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's like, okay, now he's going to be used more. Jarvis wasn't used enough in this. He was just kind of like in a flashback scene doing
Yeah.
this.
I
And then he showed up at
love
the end.
him.
You're right?
Jarvis is so
Everybody
good.
loves him.
Love
He's great.
him. I love that actor. He is so damn likable.
Yeah, and I think that was part of one of the things that made this episode feel a little bit weaker, because even though Haley Atwell and Howard Stark have great chemistry, Miss Jarvis.
Yeah.
Jarvis,
Miss
too.
having
I
Jarvis
love
around.
Jarvis.
I like that we finally got Sousa doing an actual investigation, even though it was kind of completely
I like that
undermade
we
by
saw him
Thompson.
fight a little bit.
That which was cool, and he used the crutch for that. I
Because
still
he is
think
an
might be a
SSR
bad guy.
agent, so
Yeah.
he can't be a wuss. I mean,
Yeah.
he's got to be able to hold his own.
Yeah.
He can be formidable. I also liked we got more things for Shea Wiggum to do, because he went to that prison in.
So clever with the
yeah,
mints and the
with
thing.
thing.
Yeah,
That
it was
fun.
great.
I have no idea what murdered all the Nazi soldiers.
Ripped him apart.
No.
Ripped them apart. I really like the setup of you've got what was it?
Mink.
Mink.
With his little revolver gun, and we have this whole setup like he's gonna get Agent Carter, and then Dottie like kills him.
I just love
Instantly.
that he's like super like two-dimensional bad guy right
Yeah.
now. Like I'm not complaining about that. I think it's hilarious that he's just like, oh, I'm going to kill my henchman because bad guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because bad. Well, now
Because
he's
bad guy.
dead, and I kind
Dead.
of like the opportunity for maybe Agent Carter to go toe to toe with Dottie. I think that'll be fun.
That's what on the when we first reviewed the third episode.
Yeah.
We were like, oh, that's got to be a double agent. That's got to be a double agent. That's got to be a
Yeah.
double agent. He's like, well, we were right about one of them.
We were right about one of them.
So,
Well, if you
Dottie-
say everyone's gonna be a double
I
agent.
still
Yeah.
think Sousa might not be.
like Dottie and
I
Susan.
also liked that Thompson is not just he's a little bit more complex of an antagonist than just
Yeah.
like, I'm a woman hater. It's like, women are always going to be behind the curve, and I understand that, but I'm not going to do anything about it. You know what I mean? At least
That's
he's-
how
Yeah.
the world works.
Yeah.
so.
He's still a jerk.
He's a good antagonist,
Yeah, he's
though.
a
Like,
good
I really
antagonist.
don't like him, and that makes him good. So, Dottie, do you guys think good guy, bad guy?
Bad guy.
I think bad guy. Also, they have announced what she is to the greater Marvel universe, and they said they might not mention it in the show. Do you guys want to know?
Yeah, go for it.
She's part of the Black Widow program.
Ah!
But they have said they will not use the words Black Widow, which seems
Okay.
like a waste.
Okay.
I don't
Why
know,
wouldn't they do that?
Maybe she's basically a proto Scarlett Johansson, which is
Now-
cool. So I'm hoping maybe they fight and then they team up, Dottie and Agent Carter.
My only thing
That's
thinking
what I'm
she's
hoping for.
my only things thinking she's not a good guy at the moment are
Because
that
she
she's
super killed that one guy.
a bit batshit crazy when
Yeah.
it comes to murder.
Yeah.
And two, we're living in this world where they don't trust women to do anything. So it just seems unusual to me that they would put their trust, whether she's spying on Peggy, whether she's doing whatever, in Dottie.
Yes.
Is she an ally for Peggy because she was protecting her from?
Well, here's the thing
Mink?
with the Black Widow program. She just wanted the gun. Black Widow programs
Oh.
was,
That's what I mean.
was created by the Russians. Black Widow program is a Russian thing, and the Russians are the bad guys
Ah.
so far. Leviathan has something to do with Russia.
Yeah.
And something that rips bodies apart. And Howard Stark's involved in it. And also involves Captain America's blood, which is what's making me hope that we get 1950s crazy Captain America.
which would be cool. Which would be cool.
I'd like to see that.
I just want to see Cap and Peggy make love. Is that weird?
I think you missed that
Can we
opportunity in the
Probably
first
won't
Captain
happen.
America
I'm
movie.
sorry.
Please.
I don't
just-
think Chris Evans is going to show up as anything but a flashback.
And last thing, I was really excited that if the Blitzkrieg button would actually have been a thing. Like,
Yeah,
that sounded
yeah.
like a
Yes.
crazy
That
invention.
seemed like a real, like, I know she, like, should I? I wouldn't.
I wouldn't. Why
Yeah.
would you even get that? Like,
Yeah.
why wouldn't you do? Why would you ever do that?
Yeah.
Like, you would have put. Wouldn't you? You would have fried all the electrical stations.
It's an
in
EMP.
New York?
years.
It's an EMP. Yeah.
EMP.
Like,
Because
why
despite-
would you like take a gamble on that?
Because despite what movies and TV tell you, what they tell you, EMPs fry things forever. It's not like,
Yeah.
oh,
They
electricity's
said it would
gone
take
for a
like 3
minute.
years to build the grid
What
back up or
EMPs
something.
do is they fry the technology completely, so you have to rebuild whatever the technology is from scratch.
Yeah, like in Godzilla, that little monster does an EMP, and they're like, "Oh, lights turn right back on." Like,
No, that's not
ooh,
how
that's
that
not how
works.
technology works.
No, then the show would become more Revolution.
Yes.
Which is
exactly.
okay. I miss Revolution. I wish it was still on. But
I think that's it. We can move on to Arrow.
Agent Carter.
Arrow
Little
and
Bo.
Flash.
Yeah.
I have not watched either of them. I'm sorry, guys. But I will leave you to discuss it. Please enjoy.
Yes.
Thank you.
Goodbye, everyone.
Say bye-bye, Trisha.
Bye.
And now we will talk about this week's Flash episode with Pied Piper.
Yes.
I enjoyed this episode. The baddie was interesting.
Yes.
I liked how intelligent he was.
Yes.
I thought he was an actual like threat, like not physically, but just like the Flash. Like unless he figures out his mental like quickness, which he hasn't really yet,
No.
he's not gonna be able to really take this guy on.
Yeah.
Because he's got gadgets. He's already planned this out like 12 moves ahead.
Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
I liked him as a villain.
I liked his relationship with Cisco
Yeah.
and with Mr. Wells and everything. I thought that was cool. I thought they were a little broad with him being gay. Like I was fine with the like, oh, his parents didn't want him because
I
gay.
actually thought it was
But then
interesting,
when he brings him in, he's like, I've always wanted a guy in red leather. It's like, okay, well that's. I don't know if you need that joke.
Yeah. But at least they kind of like left it there. They're
yeah,
like,
they
okay,
kinda
make one
just
joke and then
moved
move
on.
on. Yeah.
But overall, I felt like this episode was like a one step forward, one step back. Like they did something really cool, and then they kind of like sabotaged it. Like you had Iris finally doing interesting things, going to the paper and meeting up with Mason, who was a hero of hers. Overall theme of the episode was heroes kind of failing you, kind of a thing. But then later on, when they're at a press conference, because Wells decides to admit his big secret, which is not that he's Reverse Flash, which, by the way, if you're wondering whether he is or is not Reverse Flash, he speeds at least 3 times in this episode.
Yeah.
So he's Reverse Flash.
Yeah.
And Wells is taking questions, and Mason asks a question, and then Harrison Wells is like, screw you, I want Iris to ask me a question, and then Iris asks him the same question.
Yeah, it's kind of
And
like.
but it's treated like it's this big moment, and it's like, it would have been better if she asked like a more, like, if Mason asked some sort of bullshit question, and then she asked a hard-hitting one, you know?
I like that part because it was like her obviously being the bigger person
Yeah.
then, but yeah, it was a little bit of a waste of a scene because then
Yeah.
Harrison Wells was like, okay, no more questions.
Yeah, and
rolls
then
away.
it
I'm
rolls
like,
away. And then I
what?
feel like some of the CGI in the episode, you could tell they kind of like blew a lot of their budget in the last episode, so some of it was a little bit weaker. It was just,
little bit.
and some of the staging wasn't as strong. But overall, that, and when you have little things like, we showed last week that Heatwave and Captain Cold were being sent to Iron Heights because they're not metahumans, but then Pied Piper's being taken back to Star Labs, which doesn't make sense. So then that gets you wondering, like, wait, how do the metahumans like go to the bathroom or eat? Like they're basically
That's a super good question.
that they need to like next episode they need to show, especially since it looks like Pied Piper's going to be around an episode, like the dynamics, because they're running a prison
Yeah.
while they're doing all their other stuff. Like, do they go like?
Okay, so like you have the man who can turn into poison gas. How would you ever be able to put anything into that room without him getting out? There's no possible
Or maybe
way.
you don't need to because he's gassed. He's the only one that's left now.
Yeah, he and Pied Piper are the only guys left because they killed Girder.
Girder.
And there's the dead body
Of
of that
the
electrical guy. Yeah.
just sitting in a cell
They have a
somewhere.
corpse in one, a gas guy in the other, who still needs to eat, like
Yeah.
right? Like he still needs sustenance.
Theoretically.
And then a normal human.
Honestly, I really think what they need to do is they need to send Diggle over to Flash to run their personal security in the prison because he's got with Roy around in Arrow, he's got a little bit less to do. But I think and his dynamic would be really cool. Could you imagine like Diggle and Joe on an adventure together?
It'd be great.
That'd be the best.
Yeah, because he's
I'd be so
serious
excited.
and like they could be serious together.
Yeah,
and then Flash shows up and is joking and stuff.
Fun. I feel like Diggle would really benefit that show, and it would also keep Diggle from dying, which is a big fear of mine.
And also, he doesn't do well around like the Flash, like the metahuman, because he's so confused, and everyone on the Flash is kind of like, well, this guy can just make anything explode.
Just do this.
Yeah, okay, we'll accept that. But no, if he was there, he'd be a fun element of being a normal person, where he's like, why?
What is happening?
Why does this thing exist? Like, why do we just accept it?
And then we wouldn't have to worry about anybody else breaking in or stealing stuff from Star Labs, which is real easy to do.
Yeah, I did like the hearing aid.
Yeah.
Bomb, and Cisco can take an explosion to the face really well.
Holy crap!
He got
like
right back
three
up,
times.
which is
He would be
super
so
cool.
concussed.
Yeah. Okay. CGI
Don't let
might
Cisco fall asleep for 24 hours after.
CGI might not be the greatest,
But the
in this.
explosion was cool.
And go on to Arrow, because Arrow was really good this week. I liked it a lot. I liked Ollie had a good story. I liked his dynamic with Katana and Man, that I can't think of his character's
Tatsu?
name. Huh?
Is it Tatsu?
Maybe. Let's pretend. Yeah,
Yes.
that's it, him.
Yeah.
I like that, and I really am excited to learn why he is a part of the clan of Ra's al Ghul that I can't think of the name of.
The League of Assassins.
League of Assassins.
Knowing Katana's backstory and also the fact that the son was never mentioned in the future and how traumatized they are as a couple, that's gonna be. I feel like that's gonna be real rough. I have a feeling the flashbacks are gonna get real rough real soon.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that because the flashbacks, for the most part, have been a little bit boring.
Ever since the climb, the lead into the break, they've been good.
Yeah, they've been good.
Yeah, because they've played into a lot of like what's been going on with Ollie, with Tatsu saving him and all that stuff. So they actually served a purpose.
They did.
Finally.
And I like, in the end of the last episode, you saw the new Black Canary go out and like kick some ass, and she was great. And I'm like, wow, she learned a lot really fast. Like, why is she so good? And now I'm like, oh, she's not. She got lucky.
She's not got lucky, which is hard because it's still like, still Laurel. It's still
still
Laurel just
Laurel.
not being good at things, and it's one
Yeah.
of those like I want to start liking her because. I like Black Canary a lot. Black Canary's a cool character, and Sarah was a cool character, and Laurel's just.
I like Laurel. I like that she felt more like a real person trying to go and fight someone who is he's like a metahuman. Brick is a metahuman, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's what we've determined.
Even like the normal thugs, like she did not do well at all. She got cut, I think, maybe.
Yeah.
And like, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed that she's still smart,
Yes.
so she could use the recording device to like distract Brick. I like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
I like that aspect, but it was a little frustrating.
Yeah, it was a little, but
frustrating.
once again, without Ollie there, everything was fine. Like a little bit less for Diggle to do this week. He just flew a helicopter, but Roy confronted Merlin, which was cool. And even though Merlin was not threatened by him, because Merlin's not threatened by anybody except Ra's al Ghul,
Especially Roy. Why would he be threatened by Roy?
but Roy did land a few good hits in the fact that, I mean, don't keep secrets from your daughter because it won't go well for you. So that was really cool. I liked the dynamic between him and Laurel. I thought that was cool. I was a little bit weirded out about Felicity's like, you know what, Laurel, maybe you should do this, even though you're nowhere near as well equipped to do this as Ray is with his armor, crazy stuff. Like, I mean, I don't know. It felt like a little, but she got on Ray's side by the end. So
A little
I mean,
quick. It was
Yeah,
a little rushed.
A little quick.
When Ray, he goes in for the punch
Yeah.
and then he backs off. I'm so glad he backed off and wasn't good because like I can't. You had cops, you had Black Canary, you had Felicity, and you had Ray Palmer. It's just like you have so many DC heroes in here. Like not everyone can be good, and I like that Ray is like he's not like the fighting. But so I'm excited to see when they integrate like his powers, which is taking so long to get
I'll
to.
be really interested to see when he actually becomes the Atom. It better be shrinking, and there better be shrinking involved.
This is why we need a techno suit.
Finally pay off this stupid DJ character.
He's actually slightly important.
He's a spy. He's a spy not for Merlin, but for the League of Assassins, which is cool because he actually has a kind of a cool voice, like a kind of a cool deep voice. So I'm glad when he started speaking in the other language, I'm like, cool, because I hate you.
Yeah, you're pretty, and like he popped back up again. I'm like, oh right,
Yeah.
I introduced you.
Yeah.
You can die soon. I don't
please
care.
don't be a part of things. But I'm
Yeah.
excited. I'm excited that he actually serves a function, and it looks like Oliver will be returning to the city next week, and what, according to the previews, will be pretty crazy, which is good
Hopefully,
because I was worried that his return would not coincide with Brick, that he would never actually get to fight Brick.
Which would be dumb.
So, news and rumors. Big news this week, release of the Fantastic Four trailer.
I don't. I was impressed by it.
Yes.
Because I thought this was going to be the biggest superhero bomb of the year. Even that's against Ant-Man too. So like I thought it was going to be really bad. But I was impressed. I think it was a little too serious. But I'd like to see if they make it a serious movie with these kind of ridiculous powers.
Yes.
It could be cool.
Yeah, I'm a little. It's the trailer was cool, but when people. It didn't. The tone did not seem to support people stretching real far and turning into rock monsters and stuff. The Fantastic Four is one of the most purely fun properties, so it's weird to take it in the Dark Knight direction. But I mean, it's interesting. I don't want it to be bad. And the cool thing about when you make something that different is that even if it's not like Tim Burton's Batman movies are not necessarily good Batman adaptations, but they're good movies.
Yeah. Which this could be.
And that allows you when later people go to the comics to write the comics or make another movie, that is now part of the tool set that you can use. Like, well, one time the Fantastic Four was like this, so I can use this component from that to justify this creative decision. And so it adds more texture to the material. I mean, we'll see. The character that will become Mole Man is in the movie.
Wait,
and I don't know how Mole Man fits into the trailer I just saw.
Mole Man?
Mole Man, who is the most Silver Age character you could probably put into a movie.
There's Jimmy Olsen, who was cast for the Supergirl show.
And he is ripped.
He is from Desperate Housewives. I'm blanking on the name, but he will be cool.
Yeah,
I think he'll be good.
I'm excited to see that. I think they're obviously positioning him as a love interest.
Probably, yeah.
Because you don't
He's
hire
so much
somebody
older.
that good looking to play Jimmy Olsen for them just to be around.
Also, we had Jean Grey, Cyclops, and Storm cast, the younger
X-Men
versions.
Apocalypse. And the only big name out of that is Sansa Stark.
Sansa Stark,
Is playing Jean Grey.
And she'll be great. The other two, I looked up their IMDb's. There isn't much there, but they look like them.
Some casting news for AKA Jessica Jones. We'll start with the smaller one first that was just announced. Rachel Taylor is cast as Patsy Walker, AKA Hellcat.
Powers? Does she have powers?
I don't know if she has powers. I think she's one of those that like sometimes has powers, sometimes doesn't. In the comics, Jessica Jones' best friend is Carol Danvers, who is Miss Marvel, and I guess they probably changed that because there's a Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel movie coming out, and they don't want to step on the Turtles and all that shit. So I guess Hellcat's the new best friend, but that's cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool. And David Tennant, the 10th Doctor from Doctor Who, will be the villain of AKA Jessica Jones. I'm excited for that. I was a little nervous because I don't know the actress who's playing Jessica Jones, who will be playing Jessica Jones that well. But David Tennant is a big
and
pull
he's
for
playing
me.
the Purple Man, who, if you're familiar with the comics, he's an awful person.
I did my research.
It's real bad.
I did my research on Jessica Jones, and he's an awful person.
I don't know how far they're going to go in her backstory because he does some really bad things to her.
It's Netflix, so
I mean maybe, but it's still the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
But it was also in her backstory, so we might not need to we can imply really awful things without actually having to show any of it.
Oh my God, they can't show that stuff.
Yes.
Oh my God.
It's really bad. He can control people's minds, and he's a bad person.
Oh, it's so bad.
So that'll be it'll be interesting to see the flip from him because his doctor was very bright and effervescent and everything. And I know he was in Grace Point, which was a remake of the British show
Broadchurch,
and he was kind of a darker character in that, but I'm not familiar with that, so it'll be interesting for me to see him play a darker character.
And then last news, which is not sure if it's confirmed or not, but they are planning on trying to make a X-Men live-action TV show for Fox.
Yes, apparently Fox is in talks with Marvel, and they say the earliest you could probably see it is in the 2016 television season, but it's apparently Marvel's okay with. I think that if I'm Marvel, I have to be like, sure, you can make a TV series if we co-produce it and it's part of our universe, and then you have the X-Men movies and we have the TV show.
I mean, if they're gonna make money off of it, so I guess.
Because honestly, I feel like the X-Men would be a perfect franchise for TV because there's so many characters.
Yeah.
And might I just say, if you were to do that, the person I would cast for Wolverine would be Mano Bennett, who played Deathstroke.
Oh, he'd be great.
He'd be great.
He'd be so good. There's also, speaking of Deathstroke, there might be a casting for Deathstroke in Suicide Squad. It's Joe Manganiello
from True Blood.
There you go.
And also, more exciting to me is apparently the rumor is that Deathstroke is going to be a competing assassin to the Suicide Squad, which would be so cool. Take my money now. Coming out next week. on Comic Book Day, which is Wednesday. We got a new issue of Action Comics and Superman. And if you're a Superman fan, both those series have been firing on all cylinders and have been really good. Over at Marvel, we have new issues of the Star Wars comic, which was a big success for them, and the Unbeatable Squirrel Girl, which is apparently a lot of fun.
I've heard great things about it.
It's apparently a lot of fun. But the big news, bigger than all that news, if you're me, is Saga comes back with Saga issue 25, which is amazing, and Stray Bullets comes back at Image Comics with another limited run. But yeah, it's a great, Saga is a fantastic sci-fi series written by Brian K. Vaughan and drawn by Fiona Staples, and it is fantastic. You've probably heard us mention it before. So yeah, that's really exciting because it's been off the shelves for a couple months now. So it'll be good to have it come back. Yeah.
Very cool. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching Superhero Roundup. Guys, keep watching your shows. Tweet us your opinions on those shows when they air, or what you guys want us to talk about on the shows, or whatever you want. Just tweet at us. Comment down below. My name is Sam Basher.
And I'm DJ Wooldridge.
Thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See, I think if you were doing an X-Men series, maybe have it set when they're in high school, and you follow the original team. You don't have like Wolverine show up till like the end of the season because he
be cool.
Takes up everything, all the attention.
Kitty Pryde more important, or Colossus.
It'd be great. It'd be great as a show. And with the stuff they do on Flash, I would imagine budgetarily you could at least one person could use their powers a week.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe two.
But have like one guy just wear makeup the whole time. He's like, oh, see, he's a mutant.
Yeah.
Look, he teleported. Look, it's so easy. Look, he's just over there. Now he's over there. That's just editing.
Yeah.
That's easy.